Welcome, dear traveler. Take a deep breath with me and let it go. Tonight, we're not rushing anywhere. There are no tasks waiting, no urgency pulling at your sleeve. Tonight, we're simply wandering. We're going to visit a place that exists just beyond the edge of the everyday world. A village so small you might walk past it without noticing, unless you knew to look for the particular way the twilight settles there, soft as a blanket being drawn up to a sleeping child's chin. This is the Enchanted Village, and it's been waiting for you. The path beneath your feet is smooth stone, worn by centuries of footsteps, not hurried ones, but the kind that meander, the kind that pause to notice things. Above you, the sky is that particular shade of blue that only exists for a handful of minutes each evening. Not quite day, not quite night. The first stars are beginning to appear, tentative and shy, like they're checking to see if anyone's watching. You are, and they seem pleased about it. The air here is different. It holds the warmth of the day but carries the promise of cool relief. You can smell it, that green, earthy scent of gardens settling down for sleep, of roses closing their petals, of herbs in window boxes breathing out one last fragrant sigh. And underneath it all, is that bread? Yes. Somewhere nearby, a bakery has just finished its day's work, and the smell of fresh loaves, golden, yeasty, perfect, drifts through the village like an invisible welcome. The village reveals itself gradually, as all good things do. The first cottage you pass has ivy climbing its walls, not wild and untamed, but carefully, almost affectionately arranged, as if the ivy and the cottage have reached an understanding over the years. In the window, a single candle burns in a blue glass holder, casting wavering shadows that dance like something alive. No one's rushing to close their curtains here. There's no need. The night is a friend, not an intruder. Next door, a garden gate stands slightly ajar. Through it, you can see rows of vegetables tucked in for the evening, and a scarecrow who looks more drowsy than frightening, its hat tilted at a comfortable angle. Someone's left a watering can beside the gate, and there are still droplets clinging to its spout, catching the fading light like tiny jewels. The cobblestone path curves gently to the left, and you follow it without thinking, because here, there's no wrong way to go. Every path leads somewhere worth being. And there it is, the bakery. It's a round little building, almost like it grew up out of the ground rather than being built. The walls are the color of honey, and the roof is slate that shimmers faintly in the dimming light. Above the door, a wooden sign swings ever so slightly, Moonrise Bakery, painted in letters that look like they were written with care and time and no small amount of love. The windows are still lit from within, a warm golden glow that makes you think of comfort, of home, of every good morning you've ever had. Through the glass, you can see wooden shelves, mostly empty now at day's end, but still holding a few round loaves wrapped in cloth. There's a counter worn smooth by countless exchanges, and behind it, you catch a glimpse of someone moving, the baker, perhaps, wiping down surfaces, putting things to rest. You don't go in. You don't need to. Just knowing it's there, just catching that last lingering scent of warmth and grain and sweetness, that's enough. The village square opens up before you like a secret being shared. It's small, intimate, a circle of smooth stone with a fountain at its center. The fountain isn't grand or ornate. It's simple, a stone basin where water trickles from a carved acorn held by two stone hands. The sound it makes is the sound of peace itself, a quiet, constant whisper that seems to say, everything is well. Everything has always been well. Everything will continue to be well. Around the square, lanterns are beginning to wake up. Not electric lights, real lanterns, with real flames that flicker and breathe. They hang from iron posts that curve like shepherd's crooks, and one by one, they bloom into gentle light. Soft orange. Quiet gold. The kind of light that doesn't demand attention but offers itself freely. A cat, a large orange one with white paws, sits on the edge of the fountain, utterly still except for the tip of its tail, which flicks occasionally as if keeping time to some music only it can hear. It watches you with half-closed eyes, not suspicious, just aware. Acknowledging your presence the way one acknowledges a pleasant breeze. Just beyond the square, you notice another building. This one is different, taller, narrower, built of dark wood with diamond-paned windows that glow warmly from within. Above the door, in brass letters that have aged to a soft patina, the village library. And there, in the doorway, stands a woman with silver hair pulled back in a loose bun. She's wearing a cardigan the color of moss, and she's turning a key in the lock, humming to herself. The tune is nothing you recognize, but it's the kind of melody that feels like it's been hummed for generations, simple, wandering, content. She pauses, key still in the lock, and looks up at the evening sky. A small smile touches her lips, the kind that suggests she's greeting old friends among the stars. Then, satisfied with whatever she's seen, she completes her locking, drops the key into her cardigan pocket, and pats the door frame once, a gentle goodnight to the books within. She turns, notices you standing there in the square, and her smile widens just a touch. Not surprised. Not questioning. Just pleased to see another soul enjoying this gentle hour. She gives you a small nod, the kind that says, stay as long as you like. This village keeps no one on a schedule, and then she walks away down a side street, her humming fading slowly into the growing dark. Long pause. Only the fountain, the crickets, the wind chimes, the world breathing softly. And you realize, there's nowhere else you need to be. For now, this is enough. For now, this is everything. You're still standing in the square, and there's no hurry to move. But your feet, almost of their own accord, begin to wander again. The cobblestones lead you past the fountain, past the contented orange cat who has now closed its eyes completely, and down a narrow lane you hadn't noticed before. It's the kind of street that seems to appear only when you're ready for it. The buildings here lean toward each other slightly, not from age or weakness, but like old friends who've stood together so long they've naturally inclined closer. Their rooftops nearly touch, and strung between them are lines of paper lanterns, round ones, painted with delicate flowers and birds and patterns that swirl like water. They're not lit yet. But as you watch, a warm breeze passes through, and they sway ever so gently, rustling like whispered secrets. Around the corner comes a figure, and you pause. He's tall and lean, wearing a long coat the color of twilight itself, that deep purple blue that's neither one thing nor another. On his head sits a cap that's seen better days, but somehow that makes it more dear, not less. In his hand, he carries a long pole with a brass hook at the end. The lamplighter. He walks with the ease of someone who's traveled these streets 1,000 times, who knows every uneven stone, every corner, every shadow. But he doesn't walk carelessly, there's a reverence in his pace, as if this nightly ritual is not a chore but a calling. He reaches the first paper lantern, and with practiced grace, he lifts his pole, hooks a tiny cord you hadn't even seen, and gives the gentlest tug. Light blooms inside the lantern. Soft. Amber. alive. He moves to the next one, and the next. Each time, the same gentle motion. Each time, another small sun awakening in the growing darkness. You find yourself following him, staying a respectful distance back, but drawn by the trail of light he's leaving in his wake. The lamplighter seems aware of your presence. He glances back once, and you catch a glimpse of a weathered face, kind eyes, and a small smile, but he doesn't speak. This hour doesn't require words. It requires only presence, and breath, and the quiet satisfaction of simple work done well. Another lantern lights. Then another. Above, the sky has deepened to indigo. The stars are more confident now, scattered across the heavens like salt spilled on dark cloth. A crescent moon hangs low on the horizon, thin and delicate as a fingernail clipping made of silver. The lamplighter turns down an even narrower alley, one-sided by a stone wall covered in climbing jasmine. The flowers are closed for the night, but their scent still hangs in the air, sweet, heady, almost intoxicating in its gentleness. This alley opens onto something unexpected, a small bridge, arched and ancient, spanning a stream you hadn't known was there. The water below moves slowly, catching fragments of lantern light and starlight and carrying them downstream like liquid silver. You can hear it, not a rush or a roar, but a murmur, a constant gentle conversation with the stones of its bed. The lamplighter pauses at the center of the bridge. He leans against the stone railing, sets his pole down carefully, and simply looks. At the water, at the sky, at the village spreading out on either side, now dotted with points of warm light like fireflies that have decided to stay still. You stand at the end of the bridge, giving him his moment. And in that moment, you understand something. This is why he does this. Not just to light the lanterns, but to witness this transformation. To be present as the village shifts from day to night, from activity to rest, from the visible world to the world of dreams. After a time, could be 30 seconds, could be 5 minutes, time has grown soft and uncertain here. The lamplighter picks up his pole again and continues across the bridge. You follow. On the other side, the street widens slightly, and here the houses have small front gardens, each one different. One has a stone bench beneath an apple tree, the branches heavy with fruit that looks black in the dimness but you know must be red. Another has a tiny pond, no bigger than a bathtub, where lily pads float and you can just make out the dark shapes of fish gliding beneath. In one window, you see a family at dinner, not eating frantically, not distracted by screens, just together, passing dishes, talking quietly. A child laughs, the sound muffled by the glass but still clear enough to make you smile. The lamplighter lights the lantern outside that house with particular care, you notice. As if he knows the people within, wishes them well, wants to give them the best light possible for their evening. The lamplighter's path curves back toward the village square, but by a different route, a winding way that takes you past the back of the bakery, where you can see a small herb garden and a wooden bench where someone has left a mug, empty now, waiting to be collected in the morning. You pass a shop with a sign that reads Curiosities and Small Wonders. Its windows dark but full of shapes you can't quite make out. Bottles, perhaps, or boxes, or instruments for measuring things that don't usually get measured. You pass a house where someone is playing a piano, very quietly, as if they don't want to disturb the night. The melody drifts out an open upper window. Something slow, something in a minor key, something that sounds like memory feels. And finally, you arrive back at the square. The lamplighter has completed his circuit. Every lantern that needs lighting has been lit. The village glows softly, wrapped in amber and gold, held gently between the earth and the stars. The lamplighter turns to you fully now. He touches the brim of his cap, a small gesture, but one that carries weight. A acknowledgement. A thank you for walking with him. A benediction, almost. Then he reaches into his coat pocket and pulls something out. He extends his hand to you. In his palm lies a small glass globe, no bigger than a marble. Inside it, impossibly, is a tiny light, flickering, warm, alive. A piece of lantern glow, captured and contained, offered freely. You take it, and it's warm in your hand, like holding a heartbeat made of light. The lamplighter nods once more, then turns and walks away, his long coat swaying, his pole resting on his shoulder. He disappears down a side street, and though you strain your ears, you can't hear his footsteps anymore. He's gone, dissolved into the village like sugar into warm tea. But you're still here, and you're holding light. And you realize, this village has given you something. Not just beauty, not just peace, but a reminder that there are still places, real or imagined, where the night is gentle, where simple work is sacred, where light is tended with care and offered without expectation, where you can walk slowly, breathe deeply, and remember what it feels like to belong to the quiet hours. The night is still young, and there's more to see. Whenever you're ready. You're still standing in the square, the small globe of light warm in your palm. It casts a gentle glow on your fingers, and when you look at it closely, you could swear you see tiny sparks dancing inside, like stars in a private universe. You slip it carefully into your pocket, where it continues to radiate its quiet warmth against your side. A small comfort. A portable piece of peace. The orange cat has disappeared from the fountain's edge, gone on whatever mysterious errands cats conduct in the hours between dusk and true darkness. But the fountain remains, its water still whispering its endless reassurances to anyone who'll listen. Your feet, making their own gentle decisions, carry you toward a wrought iron gate you hadn't noticed before. It stands slightly ajar at the far end of the square, beyond the library, and through its ornate scrollwork you can see green shadows, the promise of growing things. You step through into the garden of evening blooms. That's not a name you read anywhere. There's no sign, no plaque, but somehow you know it, the way you know your own name, the way you know the feeling of coming home. The path here is different from the cobblestones of the village streets. It's made of flat stones set into earth, with soft moss growing between them like green mortar. Your footsteps make almost no sound at all. On either side, the garden unfolds in gentle waves of shadow and silver. The plants here are not the bright, cheerful flowers of daytime gardens. These are night bloomers. Plants that wait all day for this moment, for the sun to release them, for the moon to call them forth. Pale flowers glow like small ghosts in the darkness. Moonflowers, their trumpet-shaped blooms fully open now, white as fresh cream. Night-blooming jasmine cascades over a trellis, its scent so sweet and strong it's almost visible, like you could reach out and touch the fragrance itself. You follow the winding path deeper into the garden. Here, there's a sundial, which seems almost comical in a night garden, but it stands proud and patient, its brass face reflecting starlight, waiting for the sun it was made to track. Someone has placed a candle at its base, protected in a glass hurricane lamp, and its small flame dances and bows like it's having a conversation with the breeze. Beyond the sundial, you discover a pond, larger than the tiny one you saw in the village street. This one is surrounded by cattails and reeds, and the surface is so still it perfectly mirrors the sky above, stars below, and you standing between them, held in a moment that feels infinite. At the pond's edge sits a small wooden bench, weathered to silver grey by seasons of rain and sun. You settle onto it, and it accepts your weight with a soft creak, like a sigh of welcome. The nightingale's song grows bolder now, a cascade of notes that seem impossibly complex, impossibly beautiful. How does such a small creature contain so much music? As your eyes adjust further to the darkness, you begin to notice other things. Fireflies. Not many, just a handful, drifting through the garden like tiny spirits, their lights blinking on and off in no pattern you can discern. On, off. Here, then there. A language of light that predates human language, that will outlast it. One lands on your knee. You stay very, very still. Its light pulses once, twice, 3 times. Then it lifts off, rejoining its companions in their aimless, perfect dance. In the pond, you hear a soft plop, a frog, perhaps, or a fish rising to take an insect from the surface. The ripples spread outward in perfect circles, disturbing the reflected stars, and for just a moment the sky above and the sky below swirl together in gentle chaos. Then, slowly, the water calms. The reflection restores itself. The stars return to their places. Everything here knows how to find its balance again. At the far side of the pond, you notice a small structure, a gazebo, octagonal, with a pointed roof and open sides. Climbing roses cover half of it, and though you can't see their color in the darkness, you can smell them, the deep, wine-sweet scent of old roses, the kind that have been grown in gardens for centuries. Something draws you to it. You rise from the bench, your body moving slowly, respectfully, not wanting to disturb the garden's peace. You follow the path around the pond's edge, past stands of lavender that brush against your legs and release their calming scent with each touch. The gazebo floor is wooden, smooth and cool beneath your feet. In its center sits a small table, round, with 2 chairs. On the table, a lantern, unlit, and a book, closed, its cover worn soft as fabric. You don't open the book. You don't need to. Just knowing it's here, that someone left it here for whoever might need it, for whatever quiet reader might seek refuge in this garden at night, that's enough. From the gazebo, you can see the entire garden spread before you, a tapestry of shadows and silver, of growing things and resting things, of life continuing its patient work even in darkness. Perhaps especially in darkness. Beyond the garden's far wall, you can just make out the roof lines of the village, each one crowned with a thin line of lantern light. And beyond that, the hills roll away into deeper darkness, and beyond that, the stars continue forever. But here, in this gazebo, in this garden, in this village, in this moment, here, the world is exactly the right size. Not too big to comprehend, not too small to matter. Just right. The nightingale, as if sensing your thoughts, brings its song to a close with a final, falling phrase, not an ending, but a pause. A breath. A promise to sing again. You reach into your pocket and pull out the small globe of light the lamplighter gave you. In the darkness of the gazebo, it seems brighter, more vivid. You set it gently on the table beside the book, and it illuminates both, the worn cover with its faded gold lettering, the grain of the wood beneath. A gift returned to the world. Light shared. You stand there in the gazebo, between the book and the light, between the garden and the stars, between the day that was and the night that is. And you feel something shift inside you. Not dramatically. Nothing here is dramatic. But definitely. Surely. The tension you didn't even know you were carrying releases. The thoughts that were circling like worried birds settle. The breath you've been holding for who knows how long finally exhales. The garden will be here tomorrow night, and the night after that, and the night after that. The village will continue its gentle rhythms. The lamplighter will light his lanterns. The baker will bake her bread. The librarian will hum her wordless songs. And you? You are welcome here, always. In this place that asks nothing of you except that you breathe, and notice, and allow yourself to be held by the quiet hours. There's no rush to leave. But when you're ready, there's more to discover. There always is, in places like this. Places where the night is kind. You leave the gazebo slowly, the way you might leave a conversation with an old friend, reluctant, but knowing you'll return. The garden path leads you back toward the gate, but just before you reach it, you notice something you missed on your way in. A narrower path, almost hidden, branching off to the right. It's bordered by tall grasses that whisper to each other in the breeze, and at its entrance, 2 stone pillars stand like quiet guardians, worn smooth by weather and time. Between them, the path climbs upward. You can see stone steps, irregular and ancient, disappearing into the darkness above. They're covered with a thin carpet of moss that glows faintly silver in the starlight, as if the stones themselves are remembering the moon. Your feet choose this path without consulting you. They know, somehow, that this is where you need to go next. The steps wind upward in a gentle spiral, not steep, but patient, taking their time. On either side, the hill rises, covered in wild herbs that release their scent as you brush past. Rosemary, thyme, something else you can't name but that smells like memory itself, like every peaceful evening you've ever known distilled into fragrance. Small lights appear along the path, not lanterns, but something more subtle. Stones that glow faintly from within, as if they've absorbed sunlight all day and are now releasing it, breath by breath, into the darkness. They're just bright enough to guide your steps, no more. Above you, the sky has deepened to true black now, and the stars, oh, the stars. Out here, away from even the gentle lights of the village, they're overwhelming. Not in a frightening way, but in the way that beauty can overwhelm, so much of it, so generous, so freely given. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens like a river of light, and you have to stop for a moment, just to take it in. How long has it been since you really looked at the stars? The steps level out, and you find yourself on a small plateau at the hill's summit. Here stands a tower. It's not grand or imposing, it's round and modest, built of the same honey-colored stone as the village bakery, no taller than 3 stories. Ivy climbs one side, and wooden shutters frame tall, narrow windows that glow with warm candlelight from within. At the tower's base, an arched wooden door stands open, not carelessly, but welcomingly, invitingly, as if it's been left ajar specifically for you, specifically for this moment. You approach and pause at the threshold, listening. From inside, you can hear soft sounds, the rustle of paper, a gentle footstep, the creak of wood. And something else, a voice, speaking quietly, rhythmically. Not a conversation. More like someone reading aloud to themselves, or perhaps to the night. The tower's ground floor is a single circular room, and every available surface is covered with books. Not messy, there's an order here, though it's an intuitive one rather than a rigid one. Books stacked in spiraling towers on a central table. Books lining shelves that curve with the walls. Books lying open, face down, as if they're resting between readings. The spines are every color: deep blue and forest green, burgundy and gold, soft gray and midnight black. Candles burn in brass holders scattered throughout the room, their flames steady and calm. The light they cast makes everything soft, makes even the shadows seem gentle. In the center of the room, a spiral staircase rises upward, its iron railing worn to a dull shine by countless hands. And at the base of the staircase sits an elderly person in a chair upholstered in faded velvet the color of plums. They're wearing round spectacles that catch the candlelight, and a shawl covered in embroidered stars, silver thread on deep blue fabric. In their lap lies an enormous book, and they're reading from it in a low, melodious voice. They don't look up at your entrance, but they smile. You stand quietly, not wanting to interrupt. The reader continues for another moment, then places a ribbon carefully between the pages and closes the book with a soft thump that sounds like satisfaction. Now they look up, and their eyes, gray as evening clouds, meet yours with such warmth that you feel seen in a way you haven't felt in a long time. Not examined. Not judged. Just recognized. Acknowledged. Welcomed. Good evening, they say, and their voice is like honey, like aged wood, like time itself given sound. You've come for the stars. It's not a question. You nod, because yes, you realize, that's exactly why you're here, even though you didn't know it until this moment. Of course you have, they say, and their smile deepens. Everyone does, eventually. The stars have a way of calling us when we most need to remember how vast and how small we are, how insignificant and how precious. They gesture toward the spiral staircase. Go on up. The telescope is ready. I've been tracking something particularly beautiful tonight, a nebula, distant and quiet, where new stars are being born even as we speak. Take your time. The stars aren't going anywhere. You climb the spiral staircase, your hand trailing along the iron railing, your feet finding each step by instinct. The stairs wind upward through the tower's heart, past small alcoves filled with curious objects, an astrolabe on a pedestal, its brass rings catching candlelight. A globe of the heavens, constellations marked in gold. A collection of crystals arranged on a windowsill, each one a different color, each one glowing faintly as if holding captured starlight. Second floor, more books, and a small writing desk where papers are scattered, charts, calculations, sketches of celestial bodies. Someone's life work, spread out and ongoing. Third floor, you emerge into the observatory. The sound changes here, more open, more expansive. The wind is audible now, moving freely around the tower's top. The room is circular, its walls mostly glass, offering a panoramic view of the night sky. And there, in the center, stands the telescope. It's beautiful, all brass and wood and glass, mounted on an intricate mechanism of gears and counterweights. It's pointed upward at an angle, aimed at some specific piece of sky, and beside it sits a tall stool, waiting. You approach the telescope slowly, reverently. The brass is warm to the touch, which surprises you. But of course, it's been absorbing the warmth of the room, the attention of the stargazer below, perhaps even the distant heat of the very stars it's trained upon. You climb onto the stool, position yourself, lean forward, and press your eye to the eyepiece. Oh! The nebula fills your vision, a cloud of cosmic dust and gas, glowing in shades of pink and purple and blue that seem impossible, that seem like colors that shouldn't exist but do. Within it, bright points of light, stars being born, nuclear fusion igniting for the first time, new suns taking their first breaths. It's so far away. Light years distant. What you're seeing now happened thousands of years ago, the light traveling all this time just to reach your eye, just to let you witness this moment of creation. And yet it feels close. Intimate. Like you're being trusted with a secret. After a time, who can say how long, you pull back from the telescope. Your legs are stiff from sitting, but you don't mind. You feel different. Expanded, somehow. Like your edges have become softer, more permeable. Like you've remembered that you're not separate from all this, the stars, the nebula, the vast turning wheel of the cosmos. You're part of it. Made of it. Star stuff, as someone once said, looking back at itself. You move to the windows and simply look out with your unaided eyes. From here, you can see the entire village below, a constellation of its own, its lanterns arranged in patterns that mirror the stars above. The square with its fountain. The winding streets. The garden where you stood not long ago. The bridge where the lamplighter paused. All of it so small from this height, and yet not diminished. Made precious, instead, by its smallness, by its fragility, by the fact that it exists at all. Somewhere below, a dog barks once, then falls silent. Somewhere, a shutter closes. Somewhere, someone is falling asleep, their day complete, their rest earned. And here you are, suspended between earth and stars, held in this moment of perfect clarity. You notice something on a small shelf beside the telescope, a journal, bound in leather, and beside it, a pen. You open it carefully. Inside, pages and pages of handwriting, different hands, different inks, different languages even. Entries from people who've climbed these stairs before you, who've looked through this telescope, who've stood at these windows and felt what you're feeling now. Most of the entries are short. A few words. A date. A constellation name. Thank you. I understand now. I'll remember this. You turn to a blank page. The pen is heavy in your hand, well balanced, old. You touch the nib to the paper and pause, thinking. What could you possibly write that would capture this? What words could contain the feeling of standing here, between the village and the stars, between who you were when you arrived and who you're becoming? In the end, you write simply, I was here. I saw. I'm grateful. You close the journal gently and return it to its shelf. It's time to descend. But you're not the same person who climbed these stairs. You carry something now. Light. Space. Perspective. The village waits below, patient and kind. And there's still more of the night to experience. Still more wonder to discover. You descend the spiral staircase slowly, still carrying the vastness of the stars inside you like a careful armful of light. The stargazer is still seated in their chair on the ground floor, the enormous book open in their lap. They look up as you reach the bottom step, and something in their expression tells you they know. They know what you saw, what you felt, what shifted inside you up there beneath the dome of heaven. They don't ask. They simply nod, a small gesture that contains understanding, recognition, kinship. The village is loveliest at this hour, they say softly. When the stars are fully awake and the night has found its rhythm. There's a place, if you'd like, down by the stream, where the old willow grows. They gesture with one weathered hand toward a path you can just see through the open door, leading down the other side of the hill. The tea house will be open. It's always open for those who need it. The path down is different from the path up, gentler, wider, carpeted with fallen leaves that whisper beneath your feet like secrets being shared. The glowing stones continue here, marking the way, and as you descend, the sound of water grows louder. Not the quiet trickling of the fountain in the square, but something more substantial. A stream, moving with purpose, speaking in the voice of water that has somewhere to go and all the time in the world to get there. The air changes as you walk, becomes cooler, damper, scented with moss and wet stones and growing things that love the water's edge. Ferns brush against your legs, their fronds soft as feathers. Night-blooming flowers you can't name release their perfume as you pass. Through the trees ahead, you begin to see light. Not the warm gold of lanterns, but something softer, gentler. The color of moonlight filtered through rice paper. And then you see it. The tea house. It's small and perfect, like something from a watercolor painting. Built of dark wood that gleams faintly in the night, with a peaked roof and wide eaves that curve upward at the corners like gentle smiles. Paper lanterns hang from the eaves, glowing with that soft, pearlescent light, Not white, not yellow, but something in between. The color of fog. The color of dawn that hasn't quite arrived yet. It sits at the very edge of the stream, built partially over the water on wooden posts, so that the current flows beneath it, singing its endless song. And beside it, towering, ancient, magnificent, stands the willow tree. Its branches sweep down like a waterfall of green, trailing in the stream, moving in the breeze with a grace that seems almost conscious. The tree is so old, so vast, that standing near it feels like standing in the presence of something holy. Not in a religious way, but in the way that very old living things are holy, witnesses to time, patient survivors, quiet teachers. A small wooden bridge arches over the stream, leading to the tea house's entrance. You cross it, feeling the slight give of the wood beneath your feet, hearing the water rushing below. The door to the tea house is open, and warm light spills out onto the bridge, mixing with the cooler light of the lanterns. You step inside. The room is small, intimate, with a low ceiling supported by dark beams. The floor is made of smooth wooden planks, warm beneath your feet. Along one wall, cushions are arranged around low tables, each table holding a small vase with a single stem, wildflowers, grasses, branches with new leaves. Simple. Perfect. The other wall is mostly open to the stream, with screens that can be slid closed but are currently pulled back, allowing the night air and the sound of water to flow freely through the space. And at the back of the room, behind a long wooden counter, stands a person. They're young or ageless, it's hard to tell, with dark hair pulled back simply, wearing a robe of deep indigo tied with a cord of silver grey. They're preparing tea with movements so practiced, so fluid, they look like a dance. Like something choreographed by time itself. They look up as you enter, and their face breaks into a smile. Welcome, they say, and their voice has the same quality as the stream outside, constant, gentle, soothing. Please, sit wherever you feel called. You choose a cushion by the open wall, where you can see the stream and the willow tree and, beyond them, the village lights in the distance. You settle down cross-legged, and your body, which has walked cobblestone streets and climbed garden stairs and spiral staircases, sighs with relief. It's good to sit. It's good to rest. The tea maker approaches with a tray. On it, a pot, round-bellied and glazed in shades of blue that shift like water in sunlight. A cup, handleless, the color of celadon, its surface crazed with tiny cracks that somehow make it more beautiful, not less. And a small plate with something on it, a rice cake, perhaps, or a sweet made of honey and nuts, wrapped in a translucent paper. They kneel gracefully beside your table and begin the ritual of serving. First, they warm the cup with hot water, swirling it once, then discarding it into a bowl. Then they lift the pot and pour. The stream of tea is golden green, the color of new leaves in spring sunlight, and steam rises from it in delicate wisps. The scent reaches you, green tea, yes, but also jasmine, and underneath that, something else. Something that smells like peace itself, if peace had a scent. You lift the cup with both hands, feeling its warmth seep into your palms. You bring it to your lips and sip. Oh, it's perfect. Not too hot, not too cool, not too strong, not too weak. It tastes like evening and gratitude and every quiet moment you've ever had distilled into liquid form. It tastes like the garden, like the stars, like the village itself, all of it present in this single cup, this single moment. You sip again, slower this time, wanting to remember this. Wanting to carry this taste with you, this feeling of being exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do, which is simply sitting, breathing, drinking tea, being alive. Outside, the willow's branches sweep back and forth in the breeze, their tips drawing patterns on the stream's surface. The water catches the light from the paper lanterns and fractures it into 1,000 moving pieces of silver. A frog calls from somewhere along the bank, a deep, resonant note that sounds like contentment. Another answers from farther away. A conversation in the old language, the language that existed before words. You notice other visitors in the tea house now. You hadn't seen them when you first entered, but they're here. Quiet presences at other tables. An elderly couple sits together at the far end, sharing a pot between them, their hands occasionally touching as they reach for their cups. They don't speak, but the silence between them is full, comfortable, the silence of people who have said everything that needs saying and have arrived at something deeper. At another table, a young person sits alone, writing in a journal by the light of a candle. Their pen moves slowly, thoughtfully across the page. Occasionally they pause, look out at the stream, smile slightly, and continue writing. Near the counter, someone sits with their eyes closed, cup cradled in both hands, steam rising to brush their face. Meditating, perhaps, or simply being present with the warmth, the scent, the moment. No one speaks. There's no need. The stream does all the talking necessary. The tea maker moves through the room like a benevolent ghost, refilling pots, bringing fresh cups, removing empty plates. Their movements never hurry, never hesitate. They exist in perfect rhythm with the space, with the night, with the needs of their guests. When they pass your table, they pause and pour more tea into your cup without asking. The second serving tastes different from the first, deeper somehow, more complex, as if the tea is revealing itself to you gradually, layer by layer, inviting you deeper into its mystery. You realize this is what the tea house is teaching you, that some things can't be rushed. That some experiences only unfold properly when given time, attention, presence. That the fastest way through anything meaningful is slowly. Outside, a night bird calls, not the nightingale from the garden, but something else. Softer, more tentative. It calls 3 times, then falls silent, as if it said what it needed to say and requires no answer. The willow continues its slow dance with the wind. The stream continues its endless journey to wherever streams go. The village lights continue to glow in the distance, steadfast and patient. You rise slowly, your muscles pleasantly heavy, your mind pleasantly clear. You approach the counter, intending to pay, but the tea maker shakes their head gently. There's no charge, they say. The tea is a gift. The willow shares its shade freely. The stream asks nothing for its song. Why should we charge for what the night already gives us? They bow slightly. You are always welcome here. Whenever you need to remember how to be still. You bow in return, deeper, wanting them to know how much this meant, how much they mean, these caregivers of the quiet hours, these keepers of peace. The path leads you away from the stream, back toward the village center. You can hear it calling softly, not urgently, but with the gentle insistence of home. Your pockets hold treasures now, the memory of stars, the taste of tea, the warmth of light gifted freely. And your heart is fuller than it was. Quieter, clearer. The night is not yet over. There's one more place to visit before rest comes. One more gift the village has to offer. The path from the tea house winds back toward the village, but not the way you came. This is a different route, following the stream for a while before curving away through a grove of silver birch trees whose bark glows pale in the starlight. Your footsteps are quieter now, more contemplative. The tea has settled something inside you, smoothed the rough edges, quieted the restless thoughts. You move through the world now like you're part of it, not separate from it. Like you belong. The birch grove opens into a small courtyard you haven't seen before, tucked away behind the main square. It's paved with flat stones worn smooth as glass, and in its center stands a fountain, smaller than the one in the square, but no less lovely. Water trickles from the cupped hands of a stone child, frozen forever in the act of offering. And there, at the far side of the courtyard, is a shop. Its windows are lit from within, casting rectangles of warm amber light onto the stones. Above the door, a wooden sign swings gently, a painted music box, its lid open, golden notes spilling out into a painted sky. You approach the shop, drawn by the music, by the light, by something you can't quite name. Through the window, you can see inside, shelves upon shelves of music boxes, each one different. Some are small enough to fit in a palm, others large as bread boxes. Some are simple wooden cubes, others are elaborate confections of inlaid wood and mother-of-pearl, decorated with tiny painted scenes or intricate carvings. And among the shelves, moving with careful precision, is the music box maker. They're small and slight, wearing a leather apron over shirt the color of autumn leaves. Their hair, gray and wild, is held back with a bandana, and perched on their nose are magnifying spectacles that make their eyes seem enormous. In their hands, they hold something tiny, a gear, perhaps, or a cylinder, and they're examining it with absolute concentration. The door is slightly ajar, and the tinkling music spills out into the courtyard like an invitation. You push it open gently. The music box maker looks up, and their face, weathered and kind, crinkled at the eyes from years of close work and frequent smiling, breaks into a welcoming expression. "Ah," they say, their voice raspy but warm, like pages of an old book being turned. "A visitor. Come in, come in. Don't be shy. The night is for wandering, and wanderers are always welcome here." They set down their tiny component and wave you inside with hands that are stained with wood polish and oil, hands that have crafted countless small miracles. You step into the workshop. The smell hits you immediately, sawdust and beeswax, metal polish and old paper, and underneath it all, something sweet, vanilla, perhaps, or honey. The walls are lined floor to ceiling with shelves, and every shelf is crowded with music boxes in various states of completion. Some are finished and gleaming. Others are still raw wood, waiting for their mechanisms. Still others are disassembled, their inner workings spread out like the organs of tiny mechanical creatures. On a central workbench, tools are arranged with meticulous care, tiny screwdrivers and pliers, files thin as needles, brushes for applying glue and polish, magnifying glasses on articulated arms. "I was just finishing a repair," the music box maker says, returning to their workbench. "A beloved piece, brought in by someone whose grandmother left it to them. The cylinder had a broken pin, just one, but it made the melody skip, and you can't have that. Can't have silence where sound should be." They pick up the cylinder, a brass drum no bigger than your thumb, covered in tiny raised pins like metal stubble, and hold it up to the light, squinting through their magnifying spectacles. There, they murmur with satisfaction. Perfect. Or as perfect as human hands can make anything, which is to say, perfectly imperfect, and all the more beautiful for it. They set the cylinder down and turn to you fully. Would you like to see how they work? Most people go their whole lives listening to music boxes without ever understanding the magic inside them. And it is magic, even if it's also mechanics. Perhaps especially because it's mechanics. You nod, and their face lights up like a child's. The music box maker picks up a partially assembled box, the mechanism visible, the wooden case still open like a book. See here, they say, pointing with a tool thin as a pin. This is the cylinder, the heart of the whole thing. Each of these pins is placed exactly, precisely, to pluck the teeth of this comb as the cylinder turns. They indicate a metal comb, literally like a comb, with long metal teeth of different lengths. Each tooth is tuned to a different note. Longer teeth, lower notes. Shorter teeth, higher. When the pins pluck them, they vibrate, and that vibration becomes sound, becomes music. They turn a tiny key on the side, and the mechanism begins to move. The cylinder rotates slowly, and as each pin catches a tooth, a note rings out. Ping, ping ping, pieing. A melody emerges, note by note, like stars appearing in the evening sky. It's all about timing, the music box maker says softly, watching the mechanism with love. The pins must be in exactly the right place. A fraction of a millimeter off, and the song is wrong. The magic is broken. That's what I do here. I preserve these moments of music. I repair them when they break. I create new ones. Because people need beauty that fits in their pockets. They need wonder they can wind up and carry with them. The music box maker moves through their shop, and you follow, watching as they point out various pieces. This one, they say, touching a box painted with a pastoral scene, plays Brahms's lullaby. I made it for a new mother who couldn't sing, injury to her vocal cords, but wanted her baby to have music anyway. They move to another. This one is bound for someone who's moving far from home. It plays the folk song from their village. Something to carry with them. A sound memory of where they came from. Another. This one doesn't play a traditional melody at all. The person who commissioned it hummed something their late husband used to whistle while working in his garden. I listened, transcribed it, mapped it to pins. Now that whistle will live forever, or at least as long as the mechanism holds. The music box maker's eyes grow soft. That's the real magic, you know. Not the gears and pins. But that we can capture time. We can hold a moment, a melody, a memory, a feeling, and preserve it. Give it form. Let it live beyond its original moment. Would you like one? The music box maker asks suddenly, turning to you with bright eyes. I have a feeling. Yes, I have a feeling I know which one is meant for you. They move to a shelf in the back corner, reaching up to retrieve a box you hadn't noticed before. It's simple, made of dark wood polished to a soft sheen, with a brass clasp and tiny brass feet. No elaborate decoration, no painted scenes. Just the wood itself, its grain visible like the rings of a tree, like time made visible. I finished this one just today, they say, bringing it to the workbench. Or perhaps it finished itself. These things have a way of knowing when they're complete. They set it down in front of you. Open it. You lift the lid carefully. It sounds like home. It sounds like peace. It sounds like every gentle evening you've ever experienced, distilled into sound. Inside the box, the mechanism is visible through a glass panel. You watch the cylinder turn, watch the pins catch the teeth, watch tiny movements become music. Alchemy. Magic. Love made audible. It's yours, the music box maker says quietly. A gift from the village. Something to remember this night by. Something to carry with you when you need to remember that places like this exist, that peace is real, that gentleness is possible, that there are still people in the world making beautiful small things for no reason other than that beauty matters. You try to protest, to pay, but they shake their head firmly. The village provides what I need. And what I need is to know that these boxes go out into the world, that they carry their music to places that might have forgotten how to be quiet. That they remind people that wonder doesn't have to be loud. They close the lid gently, and the music stops, but you can still hear it echoing in your mind, in your heart. They wrap the box carefully in soft cloth and place it in a small wooden carrying case with a handle. Wind it gently, they instruct. Not too tight. You'll feel when it's enough. And listen to it when you need to remember. When the world grows too loud or too harsh or too fast. Let it remind you of this night. Of this village. Of the fact that you were here, and you were held, and you were seen. You stand there for a moment, the music box maker watching you with patient kindness. Thank you, you finally manage to say, and the words feel inadequate, too small to hold everything you're feeling. But they nod as if they understand perfectly. Thank you, they reply, for walking slowly, for noticing, for being present. The village comes alive for people like you, people who still remember how to pay attention, how to receive gifts, how to be in wonder. They walk you to the door, and as you step back out into the courtyard, they call after you. Come back, if you need to. The shop is always here. And there are always more boxes to make, more melodies to preserve. Always more wonder to craft and share. The village square is nearby. You can see its warm lights, can hear the fountain's familiar whisper. The night has been long, not in a tiring way, but in the way that good books are long. Full, rich, substantial. And now it's time to rest. One more place. One more moment of peace before the night releases you into dreams. You stand in the courtyard, the music box case warm in your hands, and you realize something: you're tired. Not the harsh, jagged exhaustion of the everyday world, the kind that comes from too much doing, too much noise, too many demands. This is different. This is the good tiredness that comes from a day fully lived, from experiences fully received. The tiredness that says, you have walked, you have witnessed, you have allowed yourself to be present. Now it's time to rest. Your body knows this before your mind does. Your shoulders have dropped completely now. Your jaw is loose. Your breath moves in and out like gentle waves. And the village, ever attentive, ever kind, seems to know it too. Because there, just beyond the courtyard, down a small lane bordered by flowering vines that close their blooms for the night, you see a building you somehow haven't noticed before, though surely it's been here all along. The building is 3 stories tall, made of timber and stone, with a steeply pitched roof and windows that glow with the softest possible light, the color of candlelight filtered through honey, through amber, through safety itself. Above the door, a sign hangs from an iron bracket, the Inn of Restful Dreams. The letters are painted in deep blue on a cream background, and around them, someone has painted tiny stars and crescent moons, each one rendered with such care that they seem to shimmer even though they're only paint. The door is heavy oak, darkened by age and weather, and it stands slightly open. Through the gap, you can see a warm interior, and you can hear something that makes your heart ease even further, the soft crackle of a fire. You push the door open, and it moves on well-oiled hinges, making barely a whisper of sound. The inn's entrance hall welcomes you like an embrace. The floor is wide wooden planks, covered here and there with woven rugs in shades of cream and soft blue and dusty rose. The walls are paneled in dark wood, and hung on them are paintings, not grand or showy, but intimate, a vase of flowers on a windowsill, a cat sleeping in sunlight, a distant view of hills at dawn. To your left, through an arched doorway, you can see the common room. A fire burns in a large stone hearth, its flames dancing in that particular way that mesmerizes, that draws the eye and soothes the mind. Before the fire, several deep armchairs are arranged, upholstered in fabric that looks soft as clouds. One is occupied by someone reading, their face obscured by their book, their posture speaking of complete relaxation. To your right, a staircase curves upward, its banister smooth and dark, worn by countless hands over countless years. And directly ahead, behind a desk of carved wood, stands the innkeeper. "Welcome," the innkeeper says, and their voice is exactly what you need to hear, gentle but assured, quiet but clear. The voice of someone who has made a life's work of helping travelers find rest. "You look like you've had a full evening," they observe, not prying, just noticing. The village has a way of filling up the heart, doesn't it? Making us feel more than we expected to feel, see more than we expected to see. You nod, finding yourself a little overwhelmed suddenly by the accumulation of the night's gifts. The lamplighter's light, the garden's peace, the stars' vastness, the tea's warmth, the music box's song. The innkeeper seems to understand without being told. "We have a room ready for you," they say simply. "We always do. This place has a way of knowing who needs it and when." They reach beneath the desk and produce a key, not a modern plastic card, but an actual key, brass and substantial, worn smooth by use, hanging from a wooden tag with a number carved into it, 7. "Room 7, the innkeeper says, placing it gently on the desk between you. "Third floor, at the end of the hall. It faces east, so you'll wake to gentle sunrise, if you choose to wake at all. There's no rush. No check-out time. Rest lasts as long as it needs to last here." "Would you like something before you go up?" the innkeeper asks. "A cup of warm milk with honey? A biscuit? We have chamomile tea, or lavender, or a blend I make myself that tastes like starlight, if starlight had a flavor." You consider, but your body knows what it needs: sleep, rest, the horizontal world, the letting go. You shake your head gently, and the innkeeper nods with understanding. "Of course. You've had tea already, I can tell. You have that settled look about you, that inward peace. Go on up then. The room is ready. Fresh linens, a turned-down bed, everything you need." They pause, then add, "In the morning, or whenever you wake, come down for breakfast. There's no menu. I cook what feels right for each guest. Somehow it's always what they need. You believe them. In this village, in this place, such things are simply true. Sleep well, dear traveler. You're safe here. You're held here. Let yourself rest as deeply as you need to. The world will wait. It's learned patience, and so can we. You climb the stairs slowly, one hand on the banister, the other holding your music box case. The stairs don't creak, or if they do, it's the friendly kind of creak, the kind that sounds like a greeting rather than a complaint. The walls along the stairway are hung with more paintings, and with photographs in simple frames, the village at different times of day, different seasons. Dawn light on the fountain. Snow covering the rooftops. Children playing in the square. The baker carrying loaves. The librarian arranging books. Life, captured and preserved. Continuity. Belonging. Second floor, a hallway with several doors, all closed, soft light visible beneath a few of them. Behind one, you hear gentle snoring, not loud, just the sound of someone deeply, peacefully asleep. It makes you smile. Third floor, quieter, dimmer. Only 2 rooms up here, and yours is the one at the end. Room 7. You push the door open and step inside. The room is perfect. Small, but not cramped. Cozy, but not claustrophobic. The walls are painted a soft grey blue, the color of the sky just after sunset. The floor is wooden, covered with a thick rug that your feet sink into gratefully. Against one wall, a bed. Not too large, not too small. The headboard is carved wood, simple but elegant. The quilt is thick and looks hand-stitched, made of fabrics in shades of cream and pale blue and lavender. Pillows, several of them, are arranged invitingly. The bed has been turned down, just as the innkeeper promised, and the sheets look crisp and clean and impossibly soft. Beside the bed, a small table with a lamp that glows gently, and a carafe of water with a glass beside it. Against another wall, a window with curtains partially open. Through it, you can see the village below, the lanterns still burning faithfully, the square with its eternal fountain, the rooftops peaceful under stars. And in the corner, a comfortable chair with a small side table, perfect for sitting and thinking, or for setting down the treasures you've collected. You move to the window and look out. From this height, you can see so much, the path you walked when you first arrived. The bakery with its honey-colored walls. The library where the silver-haired woman locked up for the night. The garden of evening blooms, a dark patch of green with pale flowers still visible. The bridge where the lamplighter paused. The hill where the stargazer's tower rises. The grove where the tea-house sits beside its willow. The courtyard where the music box maker's workshop glows. All of it spread before you like a map of your evening, like the visible path of a journey that happened in space and in time and also, perhaps especially, in your heart. You've walked through this village, and the village has walked through you. Behind you, the bed waits, patient, knowing that you'll come when you're ready. And you're nearly ready. Nearly. But first, there's one small ritual left. You move to the side table and open the music box case. Inside, wrapped in its soft cloth, the music box rests. You lift it out carefully, reverently, and set it on the bedside table where you'll be able to see it when you wake. You wind the key gently, just as the music box maker instructed, not too tight, just enough. You feel the spring tension building, and you stop at exactly the right moment, though you're not sure how you know when that moment is. You just know. You lift the lid. You stand there listening, watching the mechanism turn, watching the pins catch the teeth, watching magic happen in miniature. The melody plays through once, twice, beginning to wind down on the third repetition, slowing gradually, the note stretching out, becoming sleepier, dreamier. The final note hangs in the air for a long moment, then fades. Silence returns. But it's not empty silence. It's full silence. Satisfied silence. The silence that comes after the perfect final sentence of a perfect story. Now you're ready. You move to the bed and sit on its edge. The mattress is exactly the right firmness, supportive but yielding, welcoming but not swallowing. You remove your shoes and set them neatly beside the bed. Your feet thank you, singing with relief. You stand and turn down the lamp until it's barely glowing, just enough light to keep the darkness friendly rather than absolute. You slip beneath the covers. Oh, the sheets are cool and smooth against your skin. The quilt is heavy enough to feel like being held, but not so heavy that it weighs you down. The pillow cradles your head perfectly, as if it was made specifically for you, for this moment. You settle in, finding that position, that one perfect position that everybody knows, that position that says, yes, here, this is right, this is where I can finally let go. Your body begins to release. Your feet, which have carried you through cobblestone streets and garden paths and spiral staircases and wooden bridges, they soften, they let go, they rest. Your legs, which have climbed and walked and wandered, they grow heavy, sinking into the mattress, tension draining away like water. Your back, which has held you upright through the evening's journey, it spreads against the bed, supported, held, allowed to stop working. Your shoulders, which have carried the weight of so many things for so long, they drop completely, finally, fully. Your arms lie at your sides, hands open, palms up. Receiving position. Release position. Your neck softens. Your jaw releases. Your face smooths. Your breath deepens, slows, finds its most natural rhythm. Your mind, which has been busy all day, thinking, planning, worrying, remembering, begins to quiet. Thoughts arise, but they're gentle now, soft. They drift through like clouds, and you don't have to hold on to them. You can let them pass. You think of the lamplighter, walking his route, lighting his lanterns. You think of the stargazer, reading in their chair beneath their beloved telescope. You think of the tea maker, preparing cups for travelers. You think of the music box maker, crafting small wonders. You think of the innkeeper, welcoming guests into rest. All these people, going about their work, tending the village, keeping the light, preserving the peace. You're grateful for them, grateful to them. And somehow, impossibly, you feel them being grateful for you too, for walking slowly, for noticing, for receiving their gifts, for allowing yourself to be here, fully here, in this moment. You're so tired now, so peacefully, beautifully tired. Your eyelids grow heavy. You stop fighting it. You let them close. Behind your closed eyes, you see the village one more time. The square with its fountain. The lanterns glowing. The garden with its ghostly white flowers. The stars wheeling overhead. the tower on the hill, the tea house by the stream, the workshop with its music boxes, this inn, this room, this bed, all of it holding you, all of it saying, rest now. You've walked enough. You've witnessed enough. You've been present enough. Now it's time to let go, to drift, to dream. The village will be here tomorrow. The fountain will still flow. The baker will still bake. The lamplighter will light his lamps again. The world will continue its gentle turning. But for now, for right now, you don't need to be anywhere but here. You don't need to do anything but breathe. You don't need to be anything but exactly who you are, in this moment, held by this bed, in this room, in this village, under these stars. Sleep is coming now. You can feel it approaching like a kind tide, gentle and inevitable. You don't resist it. You welcome it. The last thing you're aware of is the sound of the fountain in the square below, still whispering its eternal reassurance. Everything is well. Everything has always been well. Everything will continue to be well. And then, you slip beneath the surface of waking, down into the soft darkness, down into the place where the day's experiences become the night's dreams, down into rest, deep rest, the rest you've earned, the rest you deserve, the rest that this village was built to provide. Sleep well, dear traveler. You are safe. You are held. You are exactly where you need to be. And in the morning, whenever morning comes for you, the village will still be here, waiting, patient, kind, ready to welcome you to a new day. But for now, just this, just rest, just peace, just sleep. Time has passed. How much? You're not certain. Time moves differently here, in the village, in this room, in the space between sleep and waking. But slowly, gradually, naturally, like a flower opening to greet the sun, you begin to surface. Not with a jolt. Not with the harsh intrusion of an alarm or the sudden demand of responsibility. No. You wake the way humans were meant to wake, slowly, peacefully, in your own time. Your awareness returns in layers. First, sensation. The weight of the quilt, still holding you. The softness of the pillow beneath your head. The coolness of the air on your face. The warmth of your body cocooned in blankets. Then, sound. Those birds, singing their dawn songs. The eternal whisper of the fountain in the square below. A breeze moving through leaves. The creak of old wood settling. The village breathing. Then, light. Even with your eyes still closed, you can sense it, not harsh, not bright, but gentle. The tentative light of early morning, the light that asks permission before entering. You don't open your eyes yet. Not quite yet. Instead, you lie there, hovering in that precious space between sleeping and waking, that liminal place where dreams still linger but reality begins to return, where you're neither fully in one world nor the other. And in that space, you remember. The evening comes back to you, not all at once, but in gentle waves, the cobblestone streets and the warm lantern light. The lamplighter with his long pole, lighting the paper lanterns one by one. The garden of evening blooms, with its moonflowers and jasmine. The stargazer's tower, and the view through the telescope, that nebula, distant and beautiful, where stars were being born. The tea house by the willow, and the tea that tasted like peace itself. The music box maker's workshop, filled with small mechanical wonders. And finally, this inn, this room, this bed where you've been held through the night like something precious. You remember it all, and the remembering feels almost as good as the experiencing did. Finally, slowly, you open your eyes. The room greets you softly. The walls are the same gentle grey-blue, but now they're touched with the first light of dawn, a light that's neither gold nor pink nor blue, but somehow all three at once. The color of new beginnings. The color of possibility. Your gaze drifts to the window, where the curtains still hang partially open. Outside, the sky is transforming. It's no longer the deep black of true night, but not yet the full brightness of day. It's that in-between time, the time when the world is still quiet, still soft, still holding its breath before the day's activities begin. The stars are fading, but the brightest ones are still visible, holding on for just a few more minutes. The moon, that thin crescent from last night, has moved across the sky and now hangs low on the western horizon, pale and delicate as a watercolor brushstroke. And the village below. The village is just beginning to stir. A few chimney tops are releasing thin wisps of smoke, morning fires being lit. A cat crosses the square, purposeful and unhurried. Somewhere, a door opens and closes. Life is returning, but gently, respectfully, without rush. Your attention is drawn to the bedside table, where the music box sits exactly as you left it. Without thinking about it, without planning to, you reach over and open the lid. The mechanism turns. The pins catch the teeth. The small miracle of sound continues. You watch it for a moment, then stand, your bare feet finding the thick rug, then the cool wooden floor. You move to the window, drawn by the growing light. From here, you can see even more of the village than you could last night. The bakery is already awake. You can see lights in the windows, and even from here, even 3 stories up, you can smell it. Fresh bread. Yeast and warmth and the promise of nourishment. The library stands quiet still, but you imagine the silver-haired woman will arrive soon, humming her wordless songs, opening the doors for anyone who seeks the company of books. The garden is visible too, its flowers beginning to close now as the sun approaches, their night's work done, preparing to rest through the day. You hear a soft knock at the door, so gentle you almost miss it. Yes? You call softly. The innkeeper's voice filters through. Good morning. No rush at all, but when you're ready, there's breakfast waiting. And coffee, or tea, or whatever your heart desires. Thank you, you say. I'll be down soon. Their footsteps retreat down the hallway, quiet, considerate footsteps that fade quickly into silence. You turn back to the room, seeing it now in full morning light. The paintings on the walls that you barely noticed last night are clearer now, simple watercolors of the village and its surroundings. The bedside carafe catches the light, the water inside it clear and pure. Everything in this room has been chosen with care, placed with intention, kept with love. You move to the small chair in the corner and sit, just for a moment, just to be still one more time before the day truly begins. What a gift this has been. This village. This night. This rest. You realize you feel different than you did when you arrived. Lighter, somehow. Clearer. Like something that was knotted has been untangled. Like something that was loud has been quieted. Like something that was lost has been found. You dress slowly, mindfully, not rushing. There's no need to rush. There never is, here. You tuck the music box carefully back into its case, but you leave the case open on the chair. Somehow you know it will be safe here, that you can collect it later, that this room will wait for you if you need to return. You move to the door, place your hand on the handle, and pause. One more breath. One more moment of gratitude. Then you open the door and step out into the hallway. The inn is quiet still. Most guests are likely still sleeping, or just waking like you, moving slowly toward their day. You descend the stairs, one hand on the smooth banister, retracing the path you climbed last night. Second floor. First floor. The innkeeper appears from a side door, smiling as if they've been expecting you at exactly this moment. Good morning, they say again. Did you sleep well? Like I haven't slept in years, you answer, and realize it's true. Their smile deepens. The village has that effect. Come, let's get you fed. They lead you through a doorway into a small dining room you hadn't seen last night. It's cozy, intimate, with just 4 or 5 tables, each one covered with a simple cloth. The walls are painted a warm cream color, and the morning light streams in through tall windows, making everything glow. Only one other person is here, sitting by the window, reading a newspaper, a cup of coffee steaming beside them. They look up briefly, nod at you with a friendly smile, then return to their reading. The innkeeper guides you to a table near the window. Sit, sit, they say. Let me bring you something. Before you can even ask what there is, they disappear back through the door. You settle into your chair and look out the window. From here, you can see directly into the village square. The fountain, catching the morning light, its water sparkling like liquid diamonds. The cobblestone streets, still mostly empty but for a few early risers. The orange cat from last night, sitting in a patch of sunlight, grooming itself with great concentration. The innkeeper returns with a tray, and the smell that accompanies them makes your mouth water and your heart glad. They set down a plate, fresh bread, still warm. You can see the steam rising from it, with butter that's soft and yellow as sunshine. Scrambled eggs, fluffy and perfect. A few slices of tomato, bright red and glistening. A small bowl of berries, strawberries and blueberries and raspberries, looking like jewels. Then a cup, tea, fragrant and golden, the steam carrying notes of bergamot and something floral. And finally, a small glass of orange juice, freshly squeezed, pulp floating in it like tiny clouds. I had a feeling this was what you needed, the innkeeper says. Something simple but nourishing. Something that tastes like morning. They're not wrong. It's exactly what you need, though you didn't know it until this moment. Thank you, you say, and the words carry more weight than usual. Thank you for this meal. Thank you for this rest. Thank you for this village. Thank you for remembering that people need places like this, need nights like that, need mornings like this. The innkeeper pats your shoulder gently, a gesture that's both casual and profound, and leaves you to your breakfast. As you eat, you watch the village continue to wake. The baker emerges from their shop, carrying a basket covered with a cloth, likely delivering bread to someone. They walk with the easy confidence of someone who knows every stone of these streets, who's walked this route 1,000 times and will walk it 1,000 more. The librarian appears in the square, right on cue, humming again. You can't hear it from here, but you can see her lips moving, can see the contented expression on her face. She unlocks the library door and disappears inside. A few children appear, 3 of them, maybe 7 or 8 years old, chasing each other around the fountain, their laughter bright as bells. Not screaming or shrieking, just playing, being young, being free. An elderly person settles onto a bench near the fountain with a book and a thermos. They pour themselves a cup of something, coffee, probably, and open their book, settling in for what looks like a long, leisurely morning read. Life. Ordinary, beautiful, precious life. The village is itself again, or perhaps it always was, and you're just seeing it in a different light now. You sip your tea. You eat another bite of bread. You let yourself be here, fully here, one more time. Your meal is nearly finished when the innkeeper returns, carrying a small package wrapped in brown paper and tied with twine. Before you go, they say, placing it on the table beside your plate. Something for your journey. You look at the package, then at them, questioning. Just a few things, they explain. Some of the baker's bread, it stays fresh for days, somehow, and it's good to have when you're traveling. A small jar of honey from the village bees. And they pause, smiling mysteriously, a map. A map. Of the village, yes. Hand-drawn. So you can find your way back, when you need to. Because you will need to, eventually. Everyone does. Once you've been here, once you've walked these streets and accepted these gifts, the village stays with you. And sometimes you'll need to return, in your mind if not in your body. The map helps with that. You pick up the package. It has a pleasant weight. It feels like a promise. Thank you, you say again. How many times have you said those words in the past 12 hours? And how many more times will you say them before you leave? You finish your tea, letting the last sip linger on your tongue. Then you stand, gathering your package, and make your way back to the entrance hall. The door to the outside stands open now, morning light streaming in, carrying with it the scent of flowers and bread and possibility. You pause at the threshold, looking back one more time at the inn's warm interior. The fire still crackling. The comfortable chairs. The paintings on the walls. The staircase leading up to room 7, where your music box still waits. I'll be back for the music box, you tell the innkeeper, who's followed you to the door. I know you will, they say. And it will be waiting. Just like the room will be waiting. Just like the village will be waiting. We're patient here. We know how time works differently for travelers. You step through the door, out onto the cobblestones of the village square. The morning air greets you, cool but not cold, fresh but not harsh. The kind of air that makes you want to take deep breaths, to fill your lungs, to feel alive. The village spreads before you in the morning light, every building clear and distinct now. Every street visible. Every secret place from last night now revealed in daylight, though somehow still mysterious, still magic. You know it's time to go. Not because anyone's rushing you, not because you have somewhere you need to be, but because the gift has been given. The rest has been received. The night has done its work. You're different now than when you arrived. Softer, clearer, more yourself. You carry the village inside you now, its peace, its gentleness, its reminder that the world can be kind, that rest is real, that beauty still exists in small moments and quiet places. Thank you, you whisper one final time, to the village itself, to the people in it, to the night that was, to the morning that is. And then, slowly, peacefully, carrying your gifts, you begin to walk. Back toward the path that brought you here. Back toward the edge of the village. Back toward the world that waits beyond. But you're not the same person who arrived. You've been changed by gentleness, transformed by rest, remade by wonder. And you carry proof, the package from the innkeeper, the memory of the music box's song, the feeling of the stars overhead, the taste of tea by the willow, the warmth of lantern light, the peace of room 7. Sleep well, dear traveler, and when you wake, may you carry this peace with you into all your days.